Hey there, everybody. One of the best decks in the current format that I have not tried extensively is the Ruby Amethyst Control deck, and so I wanted to give it a shot. So I put a list together here that's been doing pretty well for me, and I've been pretty happy with, so I'm going to run through it real quick. But before I do, this list is heavily based on a list posted by Noimnot in the 20 Lore Pro Discord server, and I would like to give him a huge shout out for the list. I made some changes. Primarily, I cut Yzma's. He was playing, I think, 3 copies of the 6-drop Yzma, which in the past I have not been a huge fan of. So I cut them, but that doesn't mean they shouldn't be in here. This is just what I decided to try running for the time being. And so let's hop into the actual list here. There are 6 1-drops. They're just the 1/3s. In the past, a deck like this might have run Pascal because it's so good in the mirror, but Pascal does not pair super well with Teeth and Ambitions, which is really important right now in the current metagame. And it also dies to let the Storm Rage on. And so one really nice thing about this deck is that there aren't that many characters that die to the 2 damage from Let the Storm Rage on. There's just 2 copies of Lady Tremaine and 4 copies of Maleficent. So this deck is very strong against that particular card, which has become very popular, obviously, in the Steelsong decks. So that's kind of a nice advantage of playing these specific 1-drops. Then, as far as 2-drops, you've got Lady Tremaine, which has actually been pretty impressive for me. You can, of course, use it to shift the 6-drop Lady Tremaine on turn 4. But having the ability to remove 1 lore from your opponent and just bounce it and do it multiple times can actually save you in a lot of the aggro matchups on occasion. We have the 8 copies of the typical Madame Mim bounce cards, the Snake and the Fox, which pair well with, as previously mentioned, Lady Tremaine, but of course Maleficent and the 4-drop Merlin cards as well. I think those are pretty standard in a lot of Amethyst decks, so I won't run too much into detail on those particular cards. I'm playing 4 copies of Minnie Mouse Surfer. I think some control lists have been playing less than 4. I think it's so good in the mirror that I want 4. I think that was one of the first things I added when I cut the Yzmas. I was like, I want to go up to 4 Minnie Mouse Surfers. That's maybe just personal preference, but that's where I'm at. 4 copies of Maui, just one of the best cards for playing on turn 5 and taking out a big threat. It can often hit something like a Stitch Rockstar, which is super important in that matchup. As far as late game, pretty typical stuff. The obvious 4 copies of Be Prepared, and I'm playing 1 copy of Scar, which basically functions as Be Prepared number 5. In this deck, it's often, worse than Be Prepared, but you can't play 5 Be Prepared, so that's where I'm at. I have 3 copies of the Shift Lady Tremaine, which is often really good after Be Prepared. You'll Be Prepared, your opponent will play 1 big threat, and then you can often just drop a Lady Tremaine and remove it for free. Having the ability to play this on turn 4 on top of the small Lady Tremaine is also quite nice. 4 copies of 9-drop Maleficent, just, a very good late game card. We saw its power in the first set, and it's still pretty good here. I previously mentioned 4 copies of Teeth and Ambitions. This is just very, very important in the current metagame. You have to be able to take out, characters like Lilo and Maleficent from behind a Stitch. You have to be able to take out the Stitch 2 or 1-drop, if your opponent has a Lantern in play to slow down the Steelsong deck. Just very, very vital in the current format. I think, 4 copies of Friends on the Other Side just as an obvious card draw spell. The 2 copies of The Most Diabolical Scheme is a card I was a little bit skeptical of when I was playing this deck, but the 5-cost Beast Legendary from the new set, the Sad Beast, is kind of a problem for this deck sometimes, and if they don't exert it, you can have a hard time taking it out, because obviously Maui, Scar, Madame Mim, Fox often function as removal spells, but you can't take out unexerted characters, so you need some number of spot removal, I think, in this deck. And I considered Dragonfire for a while, but I think I've been convinced that the Most Diabolical Scheme is the way to go. You can often play this for free, so it's a huge tempo swing, and you have characters like Maleficent and stuff sitting around that you're just happy to throw. Madame Mim, Snake, if it's got like 2 damage marked on it, sure, throw it at a Sad Beast or something. So yeah, I've been really liking the Most Diabolical Scheme, somewhat to my own surprise. And then lastly, we have just 2 copies of the Sorcerer's Spellbook. This is another card that's really, really good in the mirror. There are matchups where it's not great. It's not super great against aggro. It's not super great against Steelsong. Sometimes it's okay against Steelsong, but for the mirror, it's very, very powerful. They have no way to remove it, and if you can get to like, 10, 12 lore and then drop one of these, you can often just ride this all the way to victory. It's very, very difficult to race in the mirror because, people are dropping Be Prepareds every other turn in the late game. And yeah, that's the list, and it's been doing really, really well for me, and I'm going to run it through some games for you. Alright, we're here playing some games with Ruby Amethyst Control on the draw for the first game. I'm going to send back these two for sure. I think I'm going to send back the Most Diabolical Scheme too as well, just because it's uninkable. And I am not actually sure if you should be sending back Merlin in your opener, but I'm going to keep it for now. We're playing against Zef. YouTube duel. Alright, well, let's put our 1-drop in play. Looks like a mirror of sorts. Nope. Definitely just wrong. So I'm guessing this is the flute deck, or... actually, he's been working on a Mufasa deck. That's probably what it actually is, now that I think about it. I'm going to send back ink one of the minis. That probably don't need 3. Have nothing else to do, so we can just pass. Okay, but it probably is a flute deck as well, now that I see that. Okay, what to ink? I think I'm going to ink Maleficent because I have friends on the other side. I'm not worried about, like, Rapunzel, draw 1, that doesn't bother me at all. Because of the inevitability, it's something like a Sleepy's Flute provides. I want to make sure that we get on the board with lore, at least somewhat quickly. Okay. Not sure where this is going yet. A Rapunzel this way, maybe? Okay. Alright, that makes some sense. I'm gonna draw. I'm looking for inkables here. We found a couple. I don't know how I feel about them trading into Olaf. It doesn't seem that bad, though. Don't know if I need 2 Maui. I want to just put a Merlin in play. Draw a card. Okay. I'm going to not quest for now. I'm assuming I can get this 1 quest in whenever. There's the Mufasa, as anticipated. Okay, so... do I want this mini, or do I want 2 Mauis? And I think I'd like to get a Maui in play to start taking out these threats. And I might actually end up wanting a second one. We already have a mini in play. So I'm going to do this, and now I'll quest with Merlin and Olaf. If they want to trade or eat one of these things with Mufasa, that's fine with me. At least this one cantrips. The Olaf, it's not going to get much value at this point anyway. So many Mufasas. It could be anything. It could be anything, including another Mufasa, which did happen to me. I was playing against Elrathian yesterday or the day before, and I challenged Mufasa, and it was another Mufasa on top. Okay, I'm just going to hit this. I don't really have a choice, but I just want to see what I'm up against here. Oh my god. Thank you. You're welcome for the content, by the way, Zeb, if you're recording. Now I'm all flustered because I don't know what to do. Um, uh, I think what I'm gonna do is ink that and just put Lady Tremaine in play. I should have maybe waited because he can sack Mufasa here if he wants to. I should have maybe at least waited to see what Mufasa would hit, but that's all right. Can't believe it was a Maleficent on top. Mm-hmm. Hades back to Mufasa? What a game plan. This is so funny to me. Yeah, we're behind on lore, so definitely have to keep that in mind. Okay, I don't hate that now that we're behind on lore. Like, it could be another Maleficent on top. I think this Maui's going to into this Maleficent pretty much no matter what. So I'm just going to do that first in case it's another Maleficent on top so they can't take up my Maui. That would annoy me greatly. And then I will hit this Mufasa and see what happens. Okay, Minnie. That's fine. Have your Minnie Mouse. All right, one high roll, one low roll. It evens out. Okay, and then I'm gonna do this Lady Tremaine now before I have more lore. And I think I'll pass. I don't really want to ink either of these two because I might want them. There's the other Mufasa. Mm-hmm. Okay, now I have a Maleficent. Well, I think what I want to do is bounce one Merlin. Okay, that Tremaine, not super useful here. Excuse me. Okay, I like drawing that. That feels good. I'm going to ink this Maui. I'm going to try to get up to 9 for Maleficent. And I think questing with these is fine. Mufasa can only eat one of them. I just want to put as much pressure on as I can now so the spellbook ends the game quickly. Is the full Mufasa train. Okay. I think this should trade into that Aladdin. Am I going to draw cards? And I think this costs 4. I think maybe I won't draw cards. +4, +6. I don't think I really have time to draw, so I should probably just ink this. I want to get this in play. It's worth noting that Be Prepared is going to be pretty bad this game because I can't Be Prep away the Mufasas. I don't have time to trade with them either. I think I have to quest. curious. I see. Okay. I'm gonna try to, like, hit a high roll a Scar or something. Maleficent. God, this. I didn't know I had entered Vegas here. Well, they still gotta do something, or I'm going to just win. That's a good one. All right, what is it? Doc. Okay. Again, not the scariest. Now, I do have lethal with this Merlin still. Okay. Let's do that. All right, we gotta win. What a game. That was a fun one. Okay. On the play here, another game with Ruby Amethyst Control. I'm shipping Lady Tremaine for sure. I'll hold on to... Well, I definitely want a 3-drop to go with my friends. Because I have so many friends, maybe I'll ship Merlin. Okay. I like this. Having Teeth and an Olaf. I think I'll ink Olaf to play Olaf. There's some matchups where I'd want all these friends, like the mirrors, so don't necessarily want to ink one of those right away. Benja. Okay, so Amber Steel. Obviously, I'm going to shoot that. Don't need this Maleficent. So let's just enact that game plan. Goal here is to not fall too far behind before they get a wheel off, and then hope that the board wipes are in the right order in my deck, and that they end up in my hand when I'm on 7 ink and not in my bin. Okay, not Stitch, I hope. Another queen. Okay. Yes. I don't think this Merlin... Well, actually, there's no way I'm going to need all this card draw in this matchup. The stats on that Merlin could matter. Okay. We'll pass. Cinderella. Discarding a Benja. Alright. And they choose not to quest. Well, I've got a Merlin. Doubt I'll need this Maleficent. Plus, I have one in play I could bounce if I wanted to. I think I just want to put something in play that doesn't get swept up. And this has the biggest stats and can actually trade for things. So I think we'll start there. As far as singing Friends, honestly seems fine to me. Obviously they can shift into something, but what am I going to do about it? Okay, we'll pass. Could lose our hand here, could not. They could shift literally any of the shift characters in their deck this turn. Hoping it's not 7-drop Cinderella. That would be a bit tricky to deal with. Okay. Well, that I don't mind at all if they just want to cantrip that. What is their hand if they're doing that? Shift Queen, maybe? It's the only thing I can think of. Or just bad stuff. Wow. Okay, I like the look of that. Yeah, that seems great to me. Okay, so let's quest here. I'm going to sweep their board one way or the other, I think. So the thing I'm most scared of is Cinderella 7. The thing I'm second most scared of is Big Stitch. So now the question is, do I take out the queen and lose one of my characters, or do I just put a Mim in play? And honestly, they didn't shift last turn. They definitely would have. They don't have the shift queen. And if they do draw it off the top, that's okay with me. It's the least scary. I think what I'm going to do is put my Mim in play. Call it a turn. It's also really nice that we haven't drawn a Be Prepared yet, so they're all in our deck post-wheel. Okay, they hit nothing, or choose to hit nothing at the very least. I'm totally okay with that trade. Another queen, okay. Alright, well there's a Be Prepared. I manifested it. What I think I'm going to do is ink this Merlin, and then I'm going to shoot the queen. And I will put the damage on Madam Mim. Tinkerbell? That would make sense. Alright. Totally fine. So, versus Tinkerbell, I think that I do want to be prepared. I have follow-up Merlin, which should give me an advantage, but also just better late game than my opponent. And I don't know that this Be Prepared's ever going to get better if I sit here and wait. So let's just put ourselves in a definitively winning position and hope that we can get there that way. Olaf. I don't think I need Olaf, so I'm going to ink just in case they do wheel. Would give us access to Maleficent next turn, potentially. An interesting quest. I think my opponent may have given up. I wonder if they have a 7-drop in hand or something. Must be Surfer Stitch if they do. Okay. Rockstar. Grrr. One shy. I'm gonna quest here. If they want to challenge, it at least exposes the Stitch. And I draw cards, so that's fine. Okay, and they choose not to challenge me, but that's alright. I can now Maleficent. Challenge with Maui. Okay, there's the Surfer Stitch. Alright, but we are pretty far ahead now. This goat makes it even more. Okay, well, that would allow their Stitch to take out my Maleficent if they wish. Not a bad one. Cinderella. Okay. Alright, Scar's decent here. Just another threat I can put in play and sticks around at least for a turn. I mean, they can shoot it with Tinkerbell if they want, but... Okay. And they get to shoot something. Almost has to be the Scar. And then they'll need another answer for Merlin somewhere. Okay, that's pretty good. Not a fan. I'm only gonna get to 19 lore on my turn. Maybe they could have a song easily too to finish this Merlin. Or the Maui if they want to keep their Tinkerbell around. Okay, alright. I should still be in good shape. There's so many draws in our deck that basically just win the game. Like another Goat Merlin, but it's definitely a real game at this point. Yeah. Looking for Goat Merlin or Spellbook. Maybe not quite what I'm looking for. Alright. Okay, so what I'm going to do is be prepared. And then I have Maleficent next turn for whatever they play. And I will put this mini in play, because at this point, mini is a significant threat. When you're this close to 20 lore. Okay, yeah, how about Lady Tremaine? Just playing the Lady Tremaine while it's good. If they play two characters, Lady Tremaine gets a lot worse, so... May as well lead on that instead of Maleficent. They both win the game if they quest, so... Not much difference there. Alright. Taking down another one. Thank you so much for watching, and if you haven't already, please like and subscribe, and if you have anything to say or any content you'd like to see, please leave a comment. At this point, we are well on our way to 1,000 subscribers, which is really, really cool. I honestly never dreamed I would even get that far with this YouTube channel, but it's been a lot of fun so far, and thank you so much for watching.